Hi, this is Tiffany Brouwer, and you are listening to The Dave and Creech Show.
This is the Dave and Creech Show, the only podcast where podcaster CJ Creech and actor Dave Sheridan come together to talk all things entertainment with your favorite entertainers. Want to ask our guests a question? Tweet them to @DaveSheridan or @CJCNOV88, and they may be asked to our guests live on the show. We do have to ask you stay seated during the podcast because this ride may get a little bit hilarious. Now here's your hosts, Dave and Creech.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dave and Creech. This is episode 25. Today we have a very special show as we're rounding out that quarter of a century of episodes. We're going to do a little what would you call it, Creech?
I guess look back. Maybe?
Sure. A little look back. I know you wanted to play the infamous Doofy sketch of the first time I was on your show before I shanghaied you into teaming up into the Dave and Creech show. And we also have speaking of infamous, today we're going to be hearing a little rebuttal from the infamous David Davidson. And he's also going to chat with you about some news stories that have recently broken into the internet sphere. We're going to get a little piece of David Davidson's mind. And then everyone's going to have to make a judgment for themselves. Is this guy a stark raving alcoholic, or is he just a dude that has a chocolate and wine fetish at 4 in the morning? We're going to find out. Also on the show, we have Tiffany Brouwer from the movie The Horde. She is the female lead of the movie that we interviewed the lead actor, writer, producer, Paul Logan, last week. And we're going to try to be chatting about The Horde all month long. It is available for rental on all of the video-on-demand outlets. You can get it on PlayStation. You can get it on iTunes, DirecTV. So go out and check out The Horde. If you're into horror movies, you're going to love it. If you're into action movies, you're going to love it. It's sort of a combination Rambo meets The Hills Have Eyes.
Exactly, yeah.
We do have a special guest on the podcast today. You've actually heard his name dropped many times since the start of this podcast. He's somebody that Dave talks about a lot, and that is the David Davidson, who is in the house today.
Hey, guys.
Yes, he is here, and we've got quite a few different various news topics this week to discuss. So why don't we go about the first one? I saw this news post when I knew you were coming on.
Are you talking about that NASA guy?
Yes, the NASA guy with the giant Nerf gun.
I mean, how is that practical, one? And wouldn't you get in trouble using that in the workplace?
I would assume so. I mean, that thing, like, watching the video, I was just amazed that it was breaking glass with its little projectiles.
I mean, I can see that happening. I mean, he basically took a regular-sized Nerf gun and blew it up to massive proportions using those pool noodles and plungers. And he said that it takes the amount of air pressure it takes to make it operate is insane.
Oh, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't feel too good being hit with one of those either.
No. I mean, if it breaks glass, imagine what it's going to do when it hits you in the face.
Exactly. It'd be black and blue all over with those things.
From what I gathered was that they were having Nerf wars in the office, and he doesn't want to take part in it, so he built this to deter people from basically picking on it.
Well, I believe, in my personal opinion, I do believe he's probably now kept people from messing with him, because I know if I saw somebody that had a Nerf gun that was almost as big as me, I probably wouldn't mess with them.
Yeah. I don't see the reason.
Yeah, I mean, you've told me previous times, like when we were out and about ones that can shoot some odd rounds a minute, like almost like a machine gun of these things, but this is like...
Yeah, they have one. They have one that is battery powered, and fires at a rate of about 150 shots a minute.
Yeah, and that's insane as it is. But this person's now taken. This one doesn't fire as many rounds, but then again, it doesn't need that many rounds with how big the actual projectiles are. I'm pretty sure both will be pretty painful, though.
Oh yeah, like no. See the battery powered one, it just shoots at a regular rate. I think it's like 40 feet per second is what it fires at, but this guy's shooting at 400 feet per second.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody who's listening gets a chance, I mean, the link will be in the description on our podcast. But yeah, you should check out the sheer size of this thing. Like, I'm surprised one dude's even able to lift it up because it is huge. And you can watch him shattering the glass over and over again. They actually have a GIF of that on there.
I want to move on to this. Now, everybody's speculating about who Negan killed, right?
Oh, big time.
Right. So, my theory from the get-go is they've shot, is what they're saying in this next news article, is that they shot a scene where Negan kills everyone independently. Well, basically, they shot it so that no one knows exactly which one they're going to use until they use it.
Yeah, I saw that too. I mean, I wouldn't put it past AMC to do that. But at the same point, I don't know how successful that would be in the sense, I mean, if they shot and showed it a season finale, yeah, they could keep it quiet because from that point on, that was the end of the season. But now the very beginning is when this person gets killed. Even if they shot all 11, like, they would have to shoot then 11 different versions of every scene that they had shot for the season.
I'm going to blow some holes in that boat real quick. The reason I think that it's pertinent is because even though somebody is going to be missing from filming, that person could also correlate with, the absence of other characters in scenes that they're shooting right now. And they don't stop filming until when, like halfway through December, right?
I believe actually halfway through November is usually when they stop.
I mean, they've got four or 5 months to kind of keep this under wraps, and they can literally shoot all kinds of scenes and have like 2 or 3 people in none of them for the first 6 episodes.
Well, yeah, exactly. And another thing I've heard they're doing too, which may help with that, is they've been shooting out of order the episodes. Like, usually they shoot 1 and continue on all the way to 16, but to combat spoilers, they're actually shooting individual episodes out of order. So they could do. So
they're basically shooting it like a movie now.
Yeah. So yeah, they're going to extreme lengths to keep this a secret, which is I think a great thing. Personally, I know a lot of people on my Facebook page and everything else who would disagree with that because they love spoilers, but at least it keeps the emotion of that scene intact when it airs.
I love how they're attacking, like they're actually going after these people that are spoiling everything for everybody.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, they finally putting the foot down with this, and while I understand people who do want spoilers, I mean, I don't like them myself.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to look at it from their point of view. If they were to just go ahead and give us who it is at the very, end of the season, the viewers that were attached to that one character are very unlikely to return for the season premiere. And this is AMC's way of, I guess, keeping them attached to the show, so at least they can keep those numbers up.
Exactly, yeah. And maybe, in the same episode, being able to hook everybody who wanted to leave, hooking them for another season.
Exactly.
But I would be interested in seeing if this is indeed true and they did shoot 11 alternate deaths. I'm wondering if AMC will air those or release those on a future DVD. I think that'd be pretty cool to watch, because some of these characters, you don't think you're going to see die for a long time, a.k.a. Rick, possibly Daryl or Carl. So it would be interesting to see an alternate scene where they actually did die.
Yeah, I get that. What else do we got in the news? What else do we got? I see you wanted to talk about this Hugh Hefner's house.
Yeah, I find it ironic in some ways that in actuality, me and Dave Sheridan had talked on the podcast before when it first was announced it was for sale, and that one of the catches to buying it is you have to let Hugh Hefner live in it until he dies. And it actually wound up being bought by his neighbor who owns Twinkies.
Well, come on, let's all be honest here and say we didn't see this coming when they stopped putting nude women in their magazine.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it's been a steep decline for Playboy in the past decade or so, and now it's basically Maxim, if that.
Yeah.
It's Maxim 2, and they're trying to attract the hipster audience, but even trying to go so far is to change it up to make it more, I guess, now accessible for teenagers and everything. It's going to be hard to convince parents who grew up knowing Playboy as what it was to be like, oh yeah, sure, that's just a regular magazine. You can buy it. So I don't see how that's really going to help this generation access that, especially since most people don't buy actual physical magazines anymore anyway. And digitally.
Yeah, but you still got those people that are hanging on to the old ones, like Marilyn Monroe and what's that girl's name from Baywatch?
Pamela Anderson?
Yeah, that are worth a fortune. Just, I mean, the minute they announced that, I was like, wow, those magazines just went through the roof.
Oh yeah.
But a house, the guy, his neighbor bought the house, right?
Yeah, his neighbor bought the house, who himself is pretty rich and famous.
Didn't he, let me see here. He's like Hostess. He's the owner of Hostess, like Twinkies and stuff like that.
Exactly. And ho-hos.
But
ironically
it says ho-hos and snowballs.
Exactly.
Now, it says that he currently lives in the $18 million mansion next door and plans on joining the two to create a 7.3-acre compound. What I don't understand is why is this big, huge house that's $200 million sitting on less than, 100 acres of land in the first place?
That is a good question. We should definitely figure out how to contact these people and ask them that.
But it says that Hefner is 90. I mean,
I don't think he'll be living much longer, yeah.
I mean, I could say that, but, I mean, the man's worth of millions, and with his high level of income, and as Ricky Bobby once put, with his high level of income, I think I can see to at least 130.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, if there is some way to extend your life that you can pay an absorbent amount of money for, I'm pretty sure he will be on the front line of paying that. It's just funny that if this guy buys and conjoins it, it's just like he's gonna have crazy old Uncle Hef in his house, just walking around and actually one of the things was not only that he has to live in there, but they can't go in his room. Like, kind of like a teenager's like, don't go in my room. He's gonna have his own little privacy that no matter, even if this dude just spent millions of dollars, there's one room he can't go in.
You're saying that this man, the owner of Hostess, probably one of the smartest businessmen in the world, bought a house without being able to look in a single room.
I don't know if he actually got to look in the actual house itself. I know Playboy was the actual owner of the mansion. And, they had the caveats. If you buy it, he has to live in there and you can't go in his room. I'm assuming he's probably even went to the parties there before or since. But from what I've heard, because Dave's been there as well, he says it smells pretty bad in there. It just smells old. So I wouldn't blame the guy for wanting to knock it down and conjoin it into something that doesn't smell like a mausoleum.
I mean, that shouldn't be too hard to get the smell out. But can you imagine buying a house, going through the entire house and saying, yeah, this is a pretty nice house. What's behind this door? Oh, you can't go in there.
Exactly. I'm still wondering if he wound up going, like, if they did give him a tour of the house and, like, if they brought black lights. And it's like, wow, this entire building, like the inside of this house, is pretty much glowing, like, everywhere. There's one dark spot that's not glowing. You could see it from space.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. My question is, if Hefner is living in the house and staying in that room, and he can't go in there, I mean, if something happened, and no one can go in Hefner's room, how long would it take before somebody realizes, hey, maybe that's not just an old person smell, this guy might be dead?
Well, yeah, I guess that depends on if they can get the smell out. Well, then again, his room would still probably smell like a mausoleum. So yeah, I mean, I'm not aware of Hugh Hefner's eating pattern, so I can't verify that he makes it to lunch or breakfast, lunch, dinner, or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if it would be odd for him to miss a couple of dinners, because it depends. He's kind of frail, so. And he might even have his own refrigerator in there, since you can't see what's in his room. I mean, he could have a kitchen and everything for all you know. So it could go like, you know.
He's probably got an apartment in there, like a full-fledged condo with a separate bedroom, a whole master bath, wonderful kitchen, and living area. Well, moving on. How are those T-shirts doing?
The T-shirts are great, actually. They have been shipped, so hopefully everybody that's ordered one will be getting them within the next week or two. And make sure, if you're listening and you purchased a shirt, that you post it on our Twitter at Dave and Creech, or even on me and Dave's personal Twitter pages, and we'll retweet it to the world, because it's just awesome. And I'm really excited. I know a lot of the people that have bought them have tweeted at me how excited they were to actually get the shirt, so I can't wait to see them with this shirt on. I know you were going to get one, but unfortunately this run wasn't in your color, so I have heard that complaint,
yes,
and when we do our next run, we will offer it in multiple colors other than white.
Can we get a black hoodie with white letters?
We can do a black hoodie for sure. I can do a black hoodie, a black wife beater. They have basically every kind of shirt, button up. So we'll make sure that we get some hoodies, even though you won't want to wear that during the summer times. But you'll look pretty stylish in the fall. I mean, this one was definitely a throwback shirt because it had me and Dave as Orient City characters, plus the mention of the medals on the back, which is a throwback to the very first episode. We were hard at work on getting our next shirt done by Scott Straka. It's going to be another great shirt. I still haven't seen his design yet, but I know he's going to knock it out of the park because he's an amazing artist. So it'll be exciting to see what that one's going to look like.
Yeah, I love the stuff he does. One more thing I think you wanted to cover. I don't know if we've got time, but I don't know what this last link is, but you said something about Anton Yelchin.
Yelchin, yes.
Anton Yelchin. I still don't know exactly what happened. It appears as though he got out of his car and left it in neutral and it backed into him?
Yeah, what they're saying now is he had a 2015 Jeep. I don't remember the exact model.
It was a Grand Cherokee.
But it was basically they recently issued a recall. And in the model of car that he had, there was a problem with if you were to put it in park, sometimes it would just shift itself back into neutral. It would switch there. So what they think happened is he put it in park, and then his house is on an incline, so he went to his gate to do something, and when he went down there, it shifted itself back into neutral and rolled down and just struck him, rammed him right into the gate, and pretty much almost killed him upon impact. They don't think he was alive for more than a minute or two after it happened.
He didn't even know it happened.
Yeah, I don't think he probably even recognized what was happening before he had passed away from it. And yeah, it's just it's really sad because one, he was a terrific actor, but then to die from like this, it's not like he had to have been notified at this point from the Jeep people. Issued it earlier this year or whatnot, and apparently not a lot of people have been getting it fixed because it seems like I've been reading up the people that own this vehicle now after this has came out that's how he died. People are panicking that own this car, and now Jeep doesn't have the resources to be fixing everybody's cars all at once, since now everybody that has one wants to bring it in. And so they're running into some delays with that.
It sounds like a parking switch failure, which essentially what happens in an automatic transmission is that when you put it in park, there's a switch that activates that locks the transmission in gear. Essentially, it's in neutral, but it just locks the transmission up to keep it from rolling. And what happened is that the switch failed, which caused this horrible tragedy to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a tragedy for sure. And it's just horrible. I mean, it sucks that he had to be kind of this catalyst for now everybody else wanting to make sure their car is actually being taken out of the shop to fix. And, I mean, he's left behind so many amazing roles. And Alpha Dog, there was Charlie Bartlett. He played in the most recent Star Treks. It's just a huge loss, and a preventable one at that, which I think makes it more tragic.
One more thing you wanted to touch on was those guys that built a toilet paper fort in the Walmart in the toilet paper aisle. They built an actual fort with like recliners and pillows and a TV and everything.
Yes, it's a pretty amazing video, and I just felt like just talking about how funny and great that video was. Especially it'd be something nice to end it after we've had that serious chat about Anton. And yeah, it's just these guys that were just messing around in a local Walmart, and they built their own fort. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched it and I was like, that looks like it would be kind of fun.
My question is how do they get away with doing this? I mean, do Walmart employees really just care that little about their jobs?
Well, I mean, we've been in some Walmarts that quite frankly, that may not be far from the case. However, I think
we'll have to start filming those adventures, by the way.
Exactly. I feel like what they probably did, because there's two girls in this video that you see for very briefly. I think they had spotters on the end of each aisle. So I think the only person it falls on that really hates their job or doesn't care is probably security working the cameras, because I think the girls would notify them if people were coming down the aisle so they could stop doing what they're doing. But then again, the cameras are going to be focused on the aisles the whole time, even though I don't know if they have cameras in the toilet paper, because that's really not something you can steal unless you open it up and try to take it individually. But yeah, I mean, the time that it would have taken to do that, plus they went shopping around the store to decorate the inside of this fort, is just insane how they didn't get caught. And actually, they released a new video recently where they finally did create the double decker, where they had one on the second.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they were able to manage to do that. So
how were they able to move the furniture? One, they had to have taken tools with them into the store to unbolt the furniture from the display. But how are they able to move the furniture from one side of the store, which they keep the furniture like as far away from this food as you could possibly imagine, and move the furniture from that side of the store all the way to the toilet paper aisle and not have any questions asked whatsoever?
I think that is probably the biggest question of them all, and probably one that lies in the fact that maybe, like you were just saying, these people just didn't care. They're like, oh, look at these dudes. These dudes are taking down our furniture. Oh, well, I don't get paid enough for this.
But it's true. They I mean, that's the attitude you get whenever you go into a Walmart these days, is that, it is what it is, whatever. We don't care. We don't get paid enough to deal with it.
Exactly. So it could be very much the case of that, but in the end, it created a hilarious video. I might add. That's just, it's just great. Like, you watch it. I mean, and it could have very easily came off kind of as these guys being douchey or whatever. Because I mean, in the end, when you think about the other side of the tale of these employees that then have to go behind them and clean all that up, if they ever notice there's a fort in there, I mean, that would suck. But at the same point, I think even the employees, that with how the video was done and how they came off, I mean, it was pretty funny and pretty well done. The conspiracy theorists, I mean, wouldn't even be surprised if they had help from Walmart in doing this video, as they are sort of notable Facebookers. So maybe this was some sort of weird cross promotion between Walmart and them.
So kind of like, I know how Epic Mealtime always talks about YouTube money. They took their Facebook money and bribed the Walmart managers into letting them do this?
It's possible, because Facebook money is a thing now. I don't know if you saw the article that came out, but they've paid upwards to $3 million to people to do their Facebook Live. So maybe they got that Facebook money. They're making it rain at Walmart.
I just can't. I cannot picture this happening in my mind, because, I mean, that's an amazing feat to pull off, one, and not have anybody question you on it. We've dealt with some pretty shady Walmart employees.
Yes, we surely have, especially in Georgia at about 4 or 5 a.m.
You always bring up that story. It was in what was it? Conyers, Georgia, that we pulled over, and I went in with the full intention of buying enough wine to last the entire weekend. And what I was going to do is just have a water bottle in my backpack filled with ice and sweet red wine, so that if I wanted to, during the day, I could have some. Because I didn't feel like paying con prices for $2 bottle of wine. And the guy was very adamant about the fact that I had to wait till 8 o'clock in the morning to buy it. And I was like, no, we can't. We have to go. I just left everything and walked out.
Exactly. He was probably another one of those that was just like, man, I don't get paid enough to deal with this.
Should you just let me buy it?
Exactly. It would have been a lot easier, yes. Me and Dave talked about that. I think you heard. I think it was like 2 episodes ago. This adventure. So now everybody has your side of the story as well. Even though Dave still suggests that you might be just a little bit of an alcoholic.
I am. No, look, I was going through a rough period of my life. Want to thank CJ for bringing me out of that one, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with drinking wine on the weekend.
All weekend long. There's nothing wrong with it.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover?
No, I think that's about it. I'm gonna bring on Dave Sheridan for a little bit, because it's the Dave and Creech show. This week it's the I don't even know, the Double D and C show, or the David and Creech show. I don't know. Now all we need is like somebody named Davey, and then like Davey and Creech. It sounds like some band that we've got going on. So like old retro funk band from like the 60s, 70s.
Hey, Dave Sheridan is back. Yo.
How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So a little bit tired, but that's always to be expected.
You dropped your daughter off.
I did. I actually, the reason it's so late this time is this whole week she's had vacation Bible studies. So she's been getting out about 8:30.
Well, that's good. Vacation Bible study. It's kind of an oxymoron. I've seen them around here, too. I drive by to see Vacation Bible study. I'm like, the last vacation that I would ever want to take is the one called Bible study. Hey, guys, you want to go on Vacation Bible study? That's relaxing. Just relaxing, reading letters to Corinthians.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many times do you think Paul said to, like, a Roman guard, do you have a stamp? You know what I mean? Like, the guy his postal service charges to all the letters that the guy wrote, that must have been through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Christians, while I was at Lowe's buying something, I think I was buying nails and screws and maybe a ruler, I don't know. I was behind some sort of Christian missionary build thing. I don't know, like Builders for Christ or something. Like they were, I'm sure they were like, it's like a home for Habitat or something. They were going somewhere to volunteer to fix somebody's house up or do something. I should saw if I could get them to come over and build the house for me. That'd be the Christian thing to do. Hey, help me out. I paid up a little price in line at Lowe's. I don't know. The guy kind of chuckled. Wasn't that funny? But I said, what did Jesus say to the Roman as he's as they were nailing him up to the cross?
What?
These nails won't hold. Get it? Because he came back to life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it.
Oh, I think I must have said, what did the carpenter just say to the Romans as they were nailing him up to the cross? These nails won't hold. That's a positive thing. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, I got that.
My inspector is super Christian. He's down in like Guatemala this week, like doing some sort of a medical mission or something like that. He just got out of the hospital. He had like a lung infection like 2 weeks ago. I mean, literally was like on his deathbed, coughing up water, and they were pumping. And then he's down there in Guatemala, like, you know, working at some medical thing, treating people that are sick. And I'm like, aren't you worried about Zika? You know what I mean? Like, you're barely alive as it is. I mean, that's taking a real chance. But hey, I guess he's got to, you know, he's walking the faith, as they say. So good for him. And I had another joke with him where it was like, because there's code. There's code that you have to pass. Everything has a code. Doors have a code. Stairs have a code. You know, things have to be certain sizes. But I guess since he's the inspector, he would get up to heaven, and he would see that the door to heaven would not pass code because the only way to get in is on his knees. So that's my tip there for the code on the door. Never mind. That would be too small of a door, but it's the eye of the needle. You know what I mean? Tiffany, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Going well. Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So we've got Tiffany Brouwer on the line. You're on with Creech and Dave for the Dave and Creech radio show on WROM. You don't know Creech. You know me, obviously.
Right.
Creech is my co-host / producer of the radio show. And
okay.
So last week we had Paul Logan on and Costas, and we chatted about the new movie, The Horde, which, you know, we got to watch the film and got to watch your lovely self as the lead actress in the film, and you have some nice moments with both of them. Slightly different, I guess.
What'd you say? Say that again?
I go slightly different moments with them, you know, like it was like I'm sure you had boyfriends.
Love.
Yeah, exactly. Like both of them, I'm sure you channeled ex-boyfriends in both ways. I'm sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's back it up. So we watched The Horde, and you know, what's your character's name again in the film?
Selena.
Selena.
Mhm.
And you play Paul's character. What's his character? Cena, right?
So,
his character Senna.
I'm sorry?
Cena. Paul's
Selena?
character is his character is like Senna.
Crenshaw, right?
The what?
Crenshaw, right?
Oh, Crenshaw.
Yeah, Crenshaw.
Okay,
John.
Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Got it. John Crenshaw.
Yes.
You're his girlfriend / soon-to-be fiance. You're teaching a special ed class for underachieving kids. It's like, I don't know.
Need credit.
It's like
the photography
they all
class
seem like,
that you take when you don't want to take labs.
Exactly. Like, is it a college? Was it college kids? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
College?
like extra credit. Yeah.
But it was like a community college almost too with those kids. I was like, what the hell? Like, you know,
yeah.
like I go, these kids are all
What's funny
dying.
is yeah. And I look pretty young myself, and I'm like, geez, I almost look like one of the girls had like the boobs and the butt and the lips, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they had to give you the Clark Kent glasses for you to like to be more professor-y, you know, in the whole thing. So
exactly.
That was a good choice. Unless
that was my
your
idea.
Choice.
I was like, I'm bringing my glasses, guys.
Were they real? Those are your real glasses?
They were. Yes,
oh,
yeah. I do wear glasses.
Do you wear contacts too?
I do have contacts, but I normally don't use them unless I go on a vacation, or sometimes when I'm shooting, I'll wear them. But I mean, for that scene, being a teacher, obviously we purposely chose the glasses.
Right. So how did you get involved with this film?
So it's kind of, it just happened by accident. I do a little producing as well as acting, and I went into the offices and just the producing, like our production offices, and they were casting the film. They had rented a couple of the rooms for the casting. And so I went in, and they were like, hey, well, can we have a small role? Do you mind auditioning? And I said, yeah, that's fine. So I auditioned for the smaller role. And then about a week later, I got a call saying that the actual lead they had booked for Selena had fallen out, and they wanted me to read and potentially play Selena instead of the smaller role. But I was actually at a Packers game at Lambeau Field, and so we just did the audition over the Internet, and I got a call the next morning, and I booked the role and then started working a couple weeks later.
Got it. So in short, Angelina Jolie dropped out of the movie, and So I'm trying to think of what the smaller role would have been. I guess it was the other girl that was getting mated with.
Well, most everything I think was casted at this point already, and except for the opening scene, it was the girl who literally gets killed right away.
Right.
But I guess I did so well in that that upped me to the lead role.
When we talked to Paul, I really liked what I liked about the film was that it's got this sort of horror genre to it, but it's also, the second half is that sort of Rambo action movie kind of thing, and you get a little bit of that Hostel and Saw, Hills Have Eyes, torture porn stuff that's happened in the middle, and
I was actually pretty shocked when we screened it to see how, I turned my eyes away a couple of things, like how bloody and raw and it kind of was. So,
yeah.
That's a good thing, though, I guess, right? People are into that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, it was cool. It was, I thought it was, I thought it delivered, basically, and I don't know what the budget was, but I know that it wasn't $20 million, and I know that there's, I'm friends with Jared, I'm friends with Paul, and so I know, and that I've shot these type of movies as well, so I know what it takes, I know what the limitations are, too, and so for knowing the limitations, I knew, that's what they had to shoot here. This is what, what they shot there and, how they shot it and why they shot it and stuff like that. Overall, the sort of filmmaking of it all, the sort of, as a filmmaker, the words I'm looking for is basically adapting, sort of that run and gun of figuring out how you're going to make the scene work with what you have.
For what they had, they pulled it together pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the Horde, obviously the scenes where you're the teacher and things are going well and you're getting, hey, you're getting the ring and you're going to get engaged, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sitting there going, oh, wow, how did Tiffany pull that off? But obviously when you get captured and then you're strapped to that bed and Costas is sort of mentally torturing you at that point and saying hey, why don't you be my girlfriend? Look, we're going to go to the beach. You know what I mean? That was just the weirdest stuff. Yeah, we're going to get out of here. What do you think? It's I've mutilated a lot of people. But
he was great. He's scary, but he is kind of because he's so confident, it's charming but scary. What? Are you crazy?
So in those scenes where, no matter what the level of budget of a movie is, as an actress, you never give under anything that you're capable of giving, because that's what you do. You know what I mean? It's sort of if it's a $14 film or a $20 million film, your tools and what you're paid to do and how you do it, you don't change that up and down. You commit and you committed to this, especially in in that part of the movie. But so in shooting that, compared to other things that you've shot in the past, so where does that lie in terms of Tiffany Brouwer, the actress, and mentally, and what that did, how you're dealing with that on set and stuff like that?
Well, I haven't really ever, before that, I hadn't really ever taken on a role as such. It's just, I don't know, I just believe in, you create the situation and you make it as real as possible, it's happening. I definitely do think I tend to cater towards my dramatic side as far as acting, more than comedy and, in sitcoms and stuff. So I like it. You use more emotion and I don't know, it's just more, you're drained afterwards, but it's more fulfilling, when you can step into something where you're using your senses. So
absolutely.
It confirms that I do like dramatic roles, and I've always liked spooky things anyway, and spooky, creepy movies, and getting scared at Halloween and stuff like that. So this is, it was fun to kind of reenact those kind of genres.
Yeah. And are there other horror movies? Have you been killed in movies before or anything like that?
I did a film, and it was a while back, and I was hung in that film. And then another film I did with Eric Roberts, I was shot, but I survived. So it's, I've done things, that definitely deals with, scary situations and death, and like I said, I like the adrenaline of it, I guess you could say.
So, I don't know how long ago the one where you were hung in, what was that film?
That one was called Backstage Pass. That was with John Cabrera from Gilmore Girls, and who else? Who else is in that? Tina McDowell. I feel like that was so long ago, that one, that I got hung.
But when when they hung you, did they put you in a harness type of thing?
Oh yeah. Okay, total.
So
anytime you're dealing with these, anytime you're dealing with stuff like that, you have professionals there for your safety. Because ultimately you've got a rope around your neck and you're hanging from the ceiling.
So now, have you the last say the last year and a half of what you've been doing, or 2 years? Have you found that it's mostly been? Have you been doing a lot of TV, or I didn't get a chance to go spy on your IMDb and see what you've been up to. So just act like we're completely dumb, which Creech and I are. Exactly.
Well, so I've been doing the films, and then I picked up a Hulu show. It's called South Beach, and we shot last year in South Beach. And it aired, and we are approved for second season. We're waiting for one of the other lead actresses on a Broadway play right now. So when that wraps up, hopefully we'll get a schedule and start shooting second season. And then I also picked up another show. It's called Sprout, and hopefully that will shoot in the fall, they say. So it should come perfect timing. I'll shoot Sprout, and then I'll go back into the Hulu show South Beach. And last year I also was a part of American Horror Story Hotel. And so now of course, my team and I are pushing to, it went great, and now we're pushing for American Horror Story this season.
There you go. Yeah, because
we're pushing along, huh?
They like to bring back the cast members to play other roles.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, which is fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We've had Creech. Who we had on from American Horror Story?
We had Dennis O'Hare.
Yeah. Oh, that's who. Yeah, that's who I worked with, was Dennis. Yeah.
Awesome.
He's great. Yeah. He's
great. Did you get was Naomi Grossman? Is she still on the show?
I don't know. Wait, yes, she was. Okay. Yes, she is. I don't know about this season. I don't know about this season though, but last season. But I don't know about this season.
Yeah, I love her work. She's great. I've hung out with her.
You what?
I've hung out with her. I love her work. She's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So where can I see Sprout, though? Where will Sprout be at?
Sprout is picked up for 10 episodes. It is, Playboy has gone non-nude, and that's the people who are behind the show. It's a comedy, but about L.A. and, like, the holistic side of things and, all the guys hitting on the girls and at the juice bars. And so they're shooting for, it's picked up already, but they want to sell it off to get it in Netflix or Hulu or, something like that.
Got it. So
yeah.
So it's a Playboy-produced non-nude show based at a juice bar, based at kind of like L.A. life, sort of like a Cheers in a juice bar. And they're shooting the 10 episodes, and then they're going to go and find the distribution for it. Because the reality is there's so many places to take stuff. It's all about the IP. Yeah. And then once something gets somewhere, then it's on an iPhone, on a tablet. It's like, just like the Horde. Like Paul was saying, it's like you could rent the Horde on PlayStation, you can get it on iTunes, you can get it on DirecTV. It's just sort of like you just got to get it out there, because then it'll be on Redbox, eventually to be on Netflix. So, when we interview people about the Horde here and we're talking about the Horde, it's sort of like every listener listening to this interview about that movie is going to watch it on a different device, and that's what's totally game-changing. Definitely over the last 5 years is nobody watches anything the same way. Some people like to watch at their house on a bigger TV. Other people are like, I like to be under my covers on my iPhone with reading glasses and earbuds, you know what I mean, or watch it while I'm at the gym. So they sent me the link to the Horde, and where I'm living right now, I have terrible Wi-Fi. My internet service is slow. And Time Warner actually just was found guilty for, like, slowing everyone. And I knew, I've been telling Creech this for months, going, my internet service is so slow. Everything just locks up every time I'm watching something. So I went to Starbucks to watch the movie, It's on my laptop. And I was just kind of like, there was moments where I was like, I had headphones on so they couldn't hear it, but I could see people, like, kind of looking over my shoulder, like, what's he watching? And it's like, it's like the guy's tongue is getting cut out, and you're strapped to the bed, and blood and guts, and I'm just like, I'm really watching this for research. It's not like I'm just the guy that likes to come and watch these movies at Starbucks.
Watch freaky things,
right, like with my latte.
That's funny.
And my old-fashioned donuts or whatever. It's like, can I get my s'mores heated up, please? And,
that's funny. Oh, my God.
That was definitely, I tend not to try to watch anything completely rated R, and that's Starbucks. Yeah. And it's summertime, so it was during the day when all the kids were
I was going to ask, that was my next question. Were you there at night, during the day? You're just, like, sitting in the corner?
No, it was daytime. School just got out because this was, like, last week, so school was out, and there was a lot of kids there.
A lot of kids.
Like, so inappropriate to be watching, but Paul's going to get on the phone in like a half hour. I got to finish this film.
Oh, no. Well,
so I'm probably the only one.
Hopefully those kids are renting. Hopefully they are renting it and watching it.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the best advertising.
My best friend's cousin is 20, and he's in London, and I got a call. He watched it, and he really enjoyed it. So hopefully a lot of people are checking it out.
And this other Hulu show, South Beach, so season 1 is already on Hulu, and you can watch that
Season
now?
Season 1 aired, and then now we're just hopefully, we're just kind of on hold right now. But the views exceeded their expectations, and,
Well, that's great. No, yeah, so
yeah, that was good.
But you don't know 100% if it's going to go to season 2, you said?
Not 100%. We're just waiting. I mean, it all depends. It depends how long. I mean, November she's supposed to wrap, so it just depends how long.
What was the
and if we can fit, depends what everyone else is working on and schedules and stuff.
What's the premise of South Beach? Just a lot of good-looking, model-y people.
Kind of like Empire. It's kind of like Empire, but set in South Beach, and a bit of house music, and and like the DJs and Latina artists, and and the Cubans coming in, and there's also murder mystery, so it's love, music, and murder.
Right. And because of your Cuban DJ background, you totally fit in, right?
Fit right in.
I would have.
My character's name is Roxanne. She's pretty cool. I have worn like long black nails and had my hair like braided some in cornrows, and it was fun. It was fun.
We'll keep this quick because I know you got to go, but so you just mentioned you're producing. What?
Yes.
What does that entail? What are you working on?
So there is a kicking off a show, and it's called Ink and Blood, and it's about all the artists, like the Stan Lee characters, like all the people who created the comic world, basically. And it's going to be a period piece, and we have a meeting with Brian Burke, Bad Robot, in a week, and I've got Aaron Paul, who is interested in producing and being a part of it, but he also right now has a Hulu show as well. So, so getting that going, and then I have a couple film projects that I'm producing on as well. And of course, you produce the films, and then you act in the project, and it's all gravy.
That's right. Well, I mean, you basically are taking that step and that initiative which is a little bit of a learning curve for a lot of people that, if you don't hop on that of make your own career, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to control the content. You need to make, you got to be active. You're sitting there doing this dinner meeting right now, you're producing, and the fact of the matter is you can't just sit on your couch or play the lottery game of going into auditions and waiting for someone to put you in things that they've made. You want to be active and get it, be in the control seat. So, is it going to be set in the late '60s or the early '70s? I mean, what period would that be? '60s. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. My favorite thing about the old comic books back then was a lot of they offset their production costs by, because I don't think comic books. Creech, you read a lot of comics, right?
I actually don't read a lot. No, I don't. But I mean, I love that side of the world, and being a part of the project that I have, like the Comic-Cons, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. That's what I was saying. The thriller and the sci-fi is never going to go out of style. There's too many fans, too many, people who love it.
I just remember those early comics, like especially the Marvel ones of like the Iron Man and I want to say like Fantastic Four and stuff like that, was like the back page had all these like really crappy advertisements for like the X-ray glasses or the disappearing ink or like build a hovercraft.
Silly little toys,
Right, and that's like I just love the idea of the guy that's in charge of their like ad buys. You know what I mean? Like, what did you get? Okay. Smith, like, he's down in the basement, just like
buy spidey webs or
yeah, exactly. Like, I've got these ideas for some characters now. I don't need your characters right now. I just need you to get us advertising. We need to pay for this stuff. And he's like, well, I got X-ray vision glasses. They want to buy a full page ad. It's just like, or the Chuck Norris action jeans. I remember reading, I think it was Spider-Man or something, and there was this one-page ad for like these Chuck Norris action slacks, which you could do karate in, and they were like early spandex jeans before there was like everyone's got spandex in their jeans now, the comfort fit stretch jeans. But Chuck Norris had those things in 1971, but that was just so he could do karate in, like,
hey, things come back.
Yeah, that's when they were dungarees too. So. Well, I hope you put something like that in there, because that struck me as a small kid, because I was probably 6 or 7 back then at that period, reading those comic books, and that was a big part of how they sustained themselves, because the comics at that point were 25 cents a piece, and it
was nothing,
right. So
well, I will make sure.
Yes, make sure you have those stupid ads.
I will make sure it's included.
Because I kind of see it like, I don't know what you're going to do, but I kind of see some sort of like Mad Men, inner office.
It is. It's kind of Sopranos, Mad Men vibe. That's kind of what we, pitch it off of. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So right now that's in a pitch form.
So that's in pitch form, yeah. That's in pitch form right now.
Yeah, you're building the package, so they say, trying to attach a bigger producer like the Bad Robot and get the thing out there. So
yeah,
very smart.
Building a foundation, strong foundation, and then we'll go from there.
What's in the pipe? What's the next stuff that we can see Tiffany in?
What's the next thing?
Yeah.
Probably, my friends are on a show called Vanderpump Rules, and so you're going to see me a little bit in there. But that would probably air. That'll be the first thing to air in the fall, because then Sprout will come in the spring. Will air in the spring, and then the Hulu show would air in next summer. And then, of course, American Horror Story, if we work that up.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, people love that show. Our listeners really like that show a lot. So
I didn't realize how big of a following it had until after I actually.
And Tiffany, just plug. Are you on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook? Where can people go and find out more about Tiffany Brouwer?
So to find out more about my stuff, you can catch me on Twitter, just at Tiffany Brouwer, and Instagram, same thing, Tiffany Brouwer. Everything basically is just my name.
There you go. I'm gonna be following
Instagram,
you.
Twitter, Google, YouTube.
I'll be following you, posting pictures of your smoothies and stuff like that, and all your cute LA stuff. All right.
Excellent.
All right, go back to killing people. Sorry for strangling. Goodbye.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Later, bye.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up this week for the Dave and Creech Show, both on Spreaker, iTunes, and WROM Radio. It's been a very jam-packed episode, if I may say so for myself, but always full of great and useful information that I'm sure you'll be able to use one day.
I am sure there's so much useful information that we expound, especially now that we've had the David Davidson on. Now it's just basically an encyclopedia of life, this pod radiocast thing that we do.
Exactly. He did impart some, I guess you could say, knowledge about cars at one point in this podcast. So we will eventually become a how-to podcast, thanks to the involvement of the David Davidson. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for today. We are going to continue our Horde Takeover next week with somebody else involved with the creation of the Horde. You're just going to have to tune in to find out who it is.
There you go. Well, let me, all right, well, until next week, let's chat then.
Hey, guys, this is Doofy calling from outer space. I'm hosting Creech's Questions from Creech. He's my favorite character on Saved by the Bell. I love him, yeah. You working? Wait, what do you mean? Creech? I don't know what Creech. I can't Creech. No, my mom says no Creeching anymore. She took away my creature. Okay, today I'm going to do a really cool thing on podcast. Never been done on the internet before, on the interweb. This has never been done on the interweb. I'm here with one of my special guests. She's a really close friend of mine. Yeah, I know. Shh, don't give it away. Okay, honey. Start whenever you want. Don't be shy. It's the interweb. It's the interweb. This is Creech's Questions. He's got millions of people listening. Yeah, that's it. Wow, this cyclonic suction.
Doofy!
What?
Get your dick out of the vacuum cleaner!
Hey, I said don't disturb me while I'm doing my podcast. Okay, where were we? Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's good podcast. Okay, let's take a question from the audience. Phone calls. Roll them.
Hello? Hey, am I on?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Yeah, bro. You fucking suck worse than your vacuum. Why don't you get a real job, loser?
All right.
If you don't turn off that vacuum cleaner right now, Mom's gonna send us pictures to your Twitter followers of you podcasting. Josh McDermott's not gonna be happy.
But he just followed me. He's my best friend. All right, everyone. Yeah, Josh's friendship means way too much to me. He's important. I love him. Kill swallows. Yep, that's it. And don't forget the vacuum. It was fun. Thank you for being on. And also, you've been listening to Creech's Questions. Who? Who's Creech? I thought this was Creech from Saved by the Bell. Oh, Brian Daniels just unfollowed me. I don't even know who he is. Screw him. Oh. He's blocked me now. Now I'm blocked. All right, this is... Here's a dead thing. Why's the toast at?
Shut up and sit down.
Thank you for listening to The Dave and Creech Show. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Dave and CJ. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Creech Creative Productions or any of its affiliates.